Alright guys, I'm doing a video on some atypical reef tank cleanup crew that you might not think of. A lot of bristle worms kind of get a bad rap. These guys do come out and they do eat junk. They do eat excess debris floating around in the, well, accumulating at the bottom of the aquarium. And these guys are really good for cleaning up a lot of things that you may not realize that kind of get settled into the rock work. Like if you overfeed, you have chunks of food flying around caught up in your live rock. These guys typically go in and they take care of that for you. So when I see these bristle worms, I don't give them a second thought. I just let them do their thing. 99% of the bristle worms that you're going to encounter are beneficial. And there are a few that are kind of, thought of as really bad, but those are very few and far between, and they look a little different than these guys. These guys are all your normal bristle worms that you might see on coming in on live rock. It doesn't mean you got to bleach the rock or anything like that. Just let these guys go. And this here is some sort of mollusk that actually, coincidentally enough, came in on some quote-unquote clean shadow that I got offline. It was supposed to be nothing but the Chaetomorpha. And then these guys started proliferating in my tank after that. I just let them go. They do eat algae. They do reproduce like crazy, so I do try to suck up their egg pouches when I see them on the rocks. I don't even know what these guys are, but if they're eating algae, I'm going to let them be. And I have quite a few in here working at night, along with my Trous and my Trous Snails that I'll get to here in just a moment. Speaking of my Trous Snail, this guy does really well on the filament algae, or on the film algae, excuse me. I didn't even actually realize that's what he was eating until somebody else put that in the comments, and then I started paying attention a little more. And he does really well with the cyano, and then he also does well with the green film algae that I've been getting on the glass and on the bottom of the tank. I got two of these cat's eye turbo snails the other day, and this one has been working on my return for probably 3 days now, and he's cleaned that off completely, and he's working hard up here on my return line. And this is where he hangs out. I don't know what it is about this algae. It seems to be like typical hair algae, but this thing is murdering this algae. So I'm just letting him do his thing. And he only comes out at night, and these guys are actually getting bigger by the day. I can't believe it, but he's already put on a growth line or so since he's been in my tank, which is insane. He's really having a good time in here. He's doing good work. This here's my original Mexican turbo snail that I got probably about 1.5 years ago. I put him in here, and he does work, pretty much 12 hours a night, non-stop. And he's typically targeting the hair algae. Anywhere you go, you can kind of, or anywhere he goes, you kind of tell the next day. There's like, an inch wide path that he just devours, and sometimes it's a couple feet long. It's kind of funny. But he's doing good work here as well, and I really appreciate him for what he's doing in my tank. And this is a starfish that comes in on live rock a lot of times. These things are, thought of as generally a pest, but I let them go because they do take care of the detritus and the debris between the rock work, and they work on cleaning your junk out. If you overfeed, these guys will also help to clean that up. And then what we have here in the center of the screen under this clam scute is a sponge. And these things populate a lot of times on the live rock. If you get these in, or if you get them in on corals or something like that, they'll start popping up all over your tank. I don't see these as problematic in the least, and they seem to be pretty hardy. They actually also filter the water, so that's another benefit of having this kind of organism populate into your tank as well. They actually do work, so that's cool. I just let these guys go, and my tank's happier for it. Another thing you guys can begin to notice is a lot of these little tube worms popping up everywhere. These, believe it or not, do serve a purpose in the reef tank. They're really good at filtering the water, even though they're really ugly to look at. They do a good job of helping to clean the water column of some yucky debris. So I just let these guys go. I mean, you scrape them where you need to, but I don't go out of my way to suck all of these up because they are helping me out in the long run. And the cleaner my water gets, the better I feel like my tank does. So anything that's cleaning in here, I just let it do its thing. Oh, by the way, I got a good mug shot of Mr. turboing away over here. It's kind of crazy. I saw him lifting this little rasper up, and I just had to get his little eye over here. Trucking along, man. He just keeps on chowing down. He's doing a good job, doing the Lord's work. Man, you know, speaking of the Lord's work, these little hitchhikers that came in on that like guaranteed clean shadow ball are everywhere. They're just, I had a lot more of them than I thought, so I'm gonna have to start looking for their little egg sacs. But man, these guys are literally chowing the algae down, like mowing it down. They just keep working. So, you know, like I said, I'm just gonna let them do their thing, and we will see how long it takes for my rocks to get clean after I set my tank up again. Okay, nerd moment here. This starfish is crawling up on the glass, and you can see his underside and his mouth and stuff like that. That is like super kick butt. And that's all I'm going to say about this. All right, this is kind of gross, but this little worm here is another beneficial guy, kind of like the bristle worm. Let me just see if I can't change angles real quick here to get a better picture of these guys. So if you see these, that's a bad picture. Well, if you see these guys here, do not freak out. They are helping out. They usually only come out in the dead of night. Even if you have moon lights on your aquarium, typically they don't come out as much, or at least I don't see them on the outside of the rocks like this guy here. I just cannot focus. But anyway, these guys are good. No freakouts needed. All right, just to note, I've never seen these really red ones before. At least I haven't paid much attention to them. These are actually kind of pretty looking. If I can just get it to focus. You can't really see it very well, and that one kind of pulled in, but when this thing was kind of out all the way, he was really pretty. Tiny, tiny, but pretty.